بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين، واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. السلام عليكم my beloved ones ورحمة الله وبركاته. Our talk is still on the Hajj al-Tamattu', the introductory rulings of Hajj al-Tamattu'. So in ruling number 155, من كانت وظيفة حج التمتع من كانت وظيفته حج التمتع. What does that mean? Whoever's responsibility is to perform Hajj of Tamattu' لم يجزه العدول يجزئه العدول إلى غيره. It will not be sufficient for him, or it will not suffice for him, or it will not suffice him. Suffice him what? To change to something else. He has to do Hajj al-Tamattu'. How? What are the other Hajj? We said there are three types of Hajj. Hajj al-Tamattu', Hajj al-Ifrad, Hajj al-Qiran. Hajj al-Tamattu', those people who are 80 kilometers away from Mecca, like people like us. Those people who are in the vicinities of Mecca, they do Hajj al-Ifrad, and they do Hajj al-Qiran. Hajj al-Qiran, like accompanying the goat of sacrifice with you. So if a person is responsible to perform Hajj al-Tamattu', he cannot switch it to Hajj al-Ifrad or Hajj al-Qiran, because he lives away 80 kilometers away from Mecca. However, there are a few exemptions. ويستثنى من ذلك. Okay, what are the exemptions? من دخل في عمرة التمتع ثم ضاق وقته. So وقت his time, okay, got narrowed, tightened. So when does the time get narrowed or tightened? Remember, 9th of Dhul Hajj, you have to go Arafat, or you have to be in Arafat. So there are people, they leave 8th Dhul Hajj at night. So 8th Dhul Hajj at night, 8th Dhul Hajj in the day, that's called Yawm al-Tarwiyah, 8th Dhul Hajj. But it's not obligatory. The obligatory part is to be there on the time around noon, in a time sufficient for you to perform ghusl. So anyhow, we can say around noon. So not precisely Allahu Akbar, Allah ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, adhan al-dhuhr. No, not precisely at that time. Around that time. That means when you want to make the intention, the ghusl is mustahab after adhan al-dhuhr. So how can you do ghusl and then you do the intention? Ghusl needs some time. That means it's not precisely on sharp dhuhr time. It's a bit like around that time, in a way, in a time, and we are going to come to the standing in the Arafat. We are going to specifically mention these kind of ruling. But here we need to know the time, narrow the time that your time becomes narrowed and you are not able to perform Umrah al-Tamattu'. Remember, Umrah and Hajj, they two are part of one Hajj, which is Hajj al-Tamattu'. And you have to do Umrah al-Tamattu'. You cannot, if you are supposed to do Umrah al-Tamattu' and you intentionally change it to Hajj al-Ifrad, intentionally, deliberately, then we say, kiss your Umrah goodbye, kiss your Hajj goodbye. Why? I'm still in Makkah, I can do. No. Your duty is to perform Umrah al-Tamattu'. And you by yourself, without any necessity, without any circumstances, change to Hajj al-Ifrad, that's not allowed. You are responsible to offer Salat al-Dhuhr, for example. And you say, let me offer Salat al-Asr at this time, or Salat al-Maghrib. No, you can't. You are required to offer Salat al-Dhuhr in that time. Pray Salat al-Dhuhr. Did you understand? Why? Because you are required. You're living far away, 80 kilometers. Your responsibility is Hajj al-Tamattu', Umrah al-Tamattu', not Hajj al-Ifrad, not Hajj al-Qiran. So if you choose to do Hajj al-Ifrad deliberately, intentionally, it is similar to choosing to do Hajj al-Tamattu'. Salat al-Maghrib in the time of Salat al-Dhuhr. You are required to do Salat al-Dhuhr, not Salat al-Maghrib. So if you do, or Salat al-Isha, you say, okay, this is same, this is 4 rakat, 4 rakat. Yeah, structure-wise, it is same. 4 rakat Salat al-Dhuhr, 4 rakat Salat al-Isha. But there are other conditions which prescribed Salat al-Dhuhr in the time of Salat al-Dhuhr and Salat al-Isha in the time of Salat al-Isha. So you can't do, oh, that's 4 rakat, this 4 rakat, let me do Isha now and Dhuhr late. No, the time is what the time is what necessitates the performance of Salat al-Dhuhr in this Dhuhr time and Isha in it's Maghrib and Isha time. Okay? Here, the distance from Makkah that necessitates, that's a condition which makes you do Hajj al-Tamattu and not Hajj al-Ifrad. That means Hajj al-Tamattu, which is inclusive of Umrah al-Tamattu. So let's say you decide, no, I want to do Hajj al-Ifrad. Then your Hajj will be invalid, your Umrah will be invalid. Deliberately, intentionally, you are going against what is required from you. There the time was the criteria. Here the distance is criteria. So when Sharia, when Islamic legislative system defines certain criteria, certain conditions for certain acts, that means we have to commit to performing those acts under those circumstances or under those conditions. So the condition is those who are 80 kilometers away, Umrah al-Tamattu, Hajj al-Tamattu. So that's why he says that if deliberately, problem. So you cannot switch to, you cannot, man kanat wadhifatu Hajj al-Tamattu, whoever's wadhifa, the responsibility, Hajj al-Tamattu, lam yujzihi al-udul ila ghayrihi. It will not be sufficient for him to switch or to change to something else, such as if from the Hajj of Ifrad or Hajj of Qiran, individual or independent Hajj, which is not associated with Umrah Tamattu, or Qiran, which is associated with a goat of sacrifice. Qiran means association. Okay, is it like just in every circumstances? No. There are exemptions to this rule. What are those exemptions? Exemption number 1. ويستثنى من ذلك من دخل في عمرة التمتع ثم ضاق وقته عن إتمامها. The exemption would be someone who enters to perform Umrah al-Tamattu. He is now in the Umrah al-Tamattu, the amal of Umrah al-Tamattu. Okay, and what is the narrowance of the time? When the time becomes narrowed, Dhuhr of 9th of Dhul Hajj. So you should perform your Umrah al-Tamattu before you enter the time of Dhuhr on the day of Arafah. Because where will you perform the Umrah? In Makkah. And people, when they leave Makkah, it's so crowded. You might, if you leave Makkah very late, like after you perform Umrah al-Tamattu, you leave on edge time, end time, you will not reach Arafat. You have to be there. So if let's say this person came on 9th Dhul-Hajj in the morning, arrived Jeddah, entered the state of Ihram, is going to come to, by Nadhr obviously, and is going to come to Makkah to perform Amal of Umrah. With me? To perform what? Amal Umrah. Which Umrah? Umrah al-Tamattu. Umrah al-Tamattu. Let's say in Jeddah, the flight got delayed. Okay? Or there was so big traffic. Or his car, God forbid, got crashed, or flat tire, or any situation where he could not arrive Makkah on time. What is the time? Enough time to perform his Umrah completely, Umrah al-Tamattu, Tawaf, Salat al-Tawaf, Safa and Marwa, walk between Safa and Marwa, clipping the hair, exiting the Ihram. These 1, 2, 3, 4 acts, Tawaf, Salatul Tawaf. Sa'i between Safa and Marwa, and Taqsir, clipping off, exiting the Ihram. These need to be done before Dhuhr, not before Dhuhr. These needs to be done before, while from Dhuhr, in an enough time for him to go, get on the bus, get on the car, arrive in Arafat. So he entered the state of Ihram where? In Jeddah airport, through Nadhr. Say this is Thani allows. While traveling, a huge car crash, God forbid, what serious thing was there. This was 9th Dhul Hajj in the morning he arrived. So here, he knows that if he goes to Makkah to perform Umrat al-Tamattu', he will miss out the stay in Arafat. Because he knows that if he arrives there like 11 o'clock, okay, because of this traffic or problems, traffic problem, whatever problems, or he became sick and they took him to the hospital in Jeddah, and after he was cured, he was given some injection, whatever, now his batteries are recharged. Now he's going to go to Makkah. But he knows, if I arrive Makkah and I'll do my Umrah, I'll definitely miss my Hajj. So this person was not intentional delay. This person did not deliberately delay. It was accidental. So that's one of the exemptions. Khalas. Perform Hajj al-Ifrad. Hajj al-Ifrad, you're in the Ihram. Okay? You are in the state of Ihram. So convert it to Hajj al-Ifrad. Go Arafat directly and do your a'mal of Arafat. If you cannot go past Makkah, to make your intention there. Wherever you are, just make your intention, change your intention, switch, and then go Arafat, go Muzdalifah, go Mina, prepare the stones, and complete Hajj al-Ifrad. It's Hajj al-Ifrad. Then do the Umrah Mufrada, not Umrah al-Tamattu'. Hajj al-Ifrad, Ifrad, Fard, Umrah Mufrada, Fard. So Hajj al-Ifrad, Umrah Mufrada. Hajj al-Tamattu', Umrah al-Tamattu', which are connected. Here they are not connected. Okay? Here they are not connected. We're going to see the ruling of Umrah al-Mufrada after Hajj al-Ifrad. Tamattu' connected, Ifrad not connected. Remember this. So he says, وَيُسْتَثْنَى مِنْ ذَلِكَ, and an exemption from this rule is, what rule? That it's not sufficient to switch your Umrah Hajj al-Tamattu' to something else. مَنْ دَخَلَ فِي عُمْرَةِ التَّمَتُّعِ, whoever enters the rituals of Umrah al-Tamattu', ثُمَّ ضَاقَ وَقْتُهُ عَنْ إِتْمَامِهَا, then his time becomes narrowed from completing it, fulfilling it. Like we cannot complete, the time is narrowed. فَإِنَّهُ يَنْقُلْ نِيَّتَهُ إِلَى حَجِّ الْإِفْرَادِ. So therefore, he would convert his intention to Hajj of Ifrad, not Hajj al-Tamattu'. خلاص. وَيَأْتِي بِالْعُمْرَةِ الْمُفْرَدَ بَعْدَ الْحَجِّ, and he would perform the Umrah of Mufrada, independent Umrah, after completing the Manasik al-Hajj. وفي حد الضيق المسوغ لذلك خلاف. Now he'll say this is time. He says, remember we said, what is the criteria of time being narrowed? Is it Dhuhr? Is it Yawm al-Tarwiyah? It's recommended to leave for Arafat Yawm al-Tarwiyah, 8th Dhul Hajj. So did 8th Dhul Hajj, I have to be there before 8th Dhul Hajj. If I'm not before that before 8th Dhul Hajj, I have to do Hajj al-Ifrad. Is it that, as some scholars understood from certain narrations? Or is it the time of Dhuhr, Adhan al-Dhuhr? Or is it the time after Adhan al-Dhuhr, the time of intention, that in a way that somebody could perform the ghusl? And so he said there is a discussion in this issue. What is the narrowness of the time? Because narrowness of the time gives you the reason to convert your Hajj al-Tamattu' to Umrah to Hajj al-Ifrad. Okay? It gives you the reason, it gives you the cause, change. Now, what is that? The narrowness of the time. Till when? So since there is a ikhtilaf among the scholars and the narrations, they indicate different. Remember, I said zahir, apparently. So a scholar, when he goes against the whatever is the apparent meaning, he would say most apparent to me. Okay, it's apparent to you is this, I respect. But to me, most apparent is the opposite. So say the Sistani says, there is a disagreement in this ruling. What is the time? What is the criteria? What is the end time in which you have to convert your Umrah al-Tamattu to Hajj al-Ifrad? He says, مسوغ لذلك خلاف والأظهار وجوب العدول لو لم يتمكن من أعمال العمرة قبل زوال الشمس من يوم عرفة. Before, say this Islam does not say on the noon time. No, before the noon time. So most apparently, to say this Sistani, obviously, it is obligatory to switch. It is obligatory to change, to convert, if a person was not able to complete the a'mal of Umrah, the rituals of Umrah, the obligations of Umrah, before the noon time of the day of Arafah. So it's not the noon time, before the noon time. So he needs to complete all the a'mal before. If he knows that he will not be able to before, go. Why before? Enough time for him to go from Makkah to Arafat. Okay? He finishes his a'mal. Makkah, Arafat is 20 kilometers, about 20 kilometers, like maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, okay, or 15 minutes. But then that day, it's like 5-6 hours. Okay? So when you finish your a'mal on the time of Dhuhr, or 20 minutes from Dhuhr, thinking that I'll arrive Arafat soon, when you arrive Arafat, you are still stuck in the border of Arafat, outside Arafat, for 5-6 hours, and the sun sets, and you miss the Arafat, because Arafat time is until sunset. So he said that the narrowness of the time is not the noon time. It's not the noon time. It is the time before noon. Finish your Umrah before noon, in a way that you are able to go to Arafat and be there on noon time. So if you're not able to finish before noon, in a way that you would arrive there on noon time or a little bit before, then change it. Change it. Switch to Hajj al-Ifrad. حج الإفراد ويأتي بالعمرة المفردة بعد الحاج. So فإنه ينقل, he transforms his intention نيته إلى حج الإفراد, to the Hajj, individual Hajj, or Hajj al-Ifrad we'll say. ويأتي بالعمرة المفردة بعد الحج, and he performs the Umrah, independent Umrah, individual Umrah after the Hajj. وفي حد الضيق المصوغ لذلك خلاف, and the criteria or the limit of the narrowness of the time which allows him, or which gives him the reason to transform his intention, there is an argument, there's a differences of opinion here. Well, Azhar, most apparent to me, is wujubul udul, it's obligatory to transform the niyat, or to switch, or to change. لو لم يتمكن من إتمام أعمال العمرة, if he was not able to complete the acts of Umrah قبل زوال الشمس من يوم عرفة, before the noon time from the day of Arafah. أما جواز العدول لو تمكن من إتمامها قبل ذلك في يوم التروية أو بعده فلا يخلو عن إشكال. Some scholars, they said it is permissible for you to transform on the day of Tarwiyah, Eid Dhul-Hajj. Remember, Eid Dhul-Hajj people, they go for Mina. And from Mina, then they go to Arafat. Some people, they go direct to Arafat, especially nowadays. So can I, because Yom Tarwiyah is recommended to be in Mina, is recommended to leave Makkah, Can I switch if I arrived 8 Dhul Hajj? If I arrived 8 Dhul Hajj in the morning or Dhuhr and people were leaving, can I just skip the Umrah to Tamattu and change my to Hajj al-Ifrad because it's a fadila, it's a recommended thing happening. People, they leave Yawm al-Tarwiyah to Mina, it's recommended. Say this Istan says, I have a problem with that. I have a problem. He said, most apparent to me is the narrowness of the time of Dhuhr on the 9th. If he arrives 8 Dhul Hajj, oh, you have ample of time to perform your Umrah. So he says that, وَأَمَّا جَوَازُ الْعُدُولِ, and as for permissibility to transform or to switch or to change, لو تمكن من إتمامها قبل ذلك في يوم التروية وبعده فلا يخلو من إشكال. If he was able to complete his Umrah before the time of يوم التروية, لو تمكن, if he was able to complete it من إتمامها, complete his Umrah قبل ذلك, before the noon, not before the noon, before that time, he said that some time before noon, not on noon time. So he was able to do it, okay, and he was able to do it in Yom al-Tarwiyah, but he said no, Yom al-Tarwiyah is not the limit, the noon time is the limit. So sometime before noon you finish your Umrah, not on the noon time. So the limit is noon on the day of. That's the obligatory. That's the compulsory thing. So we cannot shift the ruling of transformation before the time of noon on the Arafat. That's it. Once if you know you're not able to, then you switch. Yawm al-Tarwiyah is one day before. لو تمكن من إتمامها قبل ذلك في يوم التروية وبعده فلا يخلو من إشكال. He said it's a problematic to consider or to apply this rule that you are able to convert in your on the day of Tarwiyah or after the day of Tarwiyah. It's problematic to convert as long as you are able to do your Umrah before some time of noon. Okay, like enough time for you to travel from Makkah till Arafat. When you arrive Arafat before Dhuhr, okay, enough time, then that is where you don't have enough time. That is where you need to convert. Ruling number 156. من كان فرضه حج التمتع. من كان فرضه حج التمتع إذا علم قبل أن يحرم للعمرة ضيق الوقت عن إتمامها قبل زوال الشمس من يوم عرفة لم يجزه العدول إلى حج الإفراد أو القران، بل يجب عليه الإتيان بحج التمتع بعد ذلك إذا كان الحج مستقرا عليه. So here the situation is whoever, now remember, don't mix this with previous ruling, please. Previous ruling was he entered the ihram. He entered the state of ihram and he's going he's going to perform the Umrah. He realized he will not be able to. He did not know before. He planned that he's going to arrive sometime before Dhuhr and he will be there in Arafat. So he and accidentally something happened. He was not able to what? He was not able to reach, or he realized that he will not be able to reach Arafat on time. This was in the previous ruling. Here, he realized and knew before entering the state of ihram. That's the difference. There, after entering the state of ihram. Here, before entering the state of ihram. Okay, there he perhaps he started tawaf around the Kaaba. So during the Umrah. Here, no. Before the entering the state of ihram, he realized, Khalas, don't go for Hajj. What? Hajj? Are you Satan? Are you preventing me from going to Hajj? You should be encouraged. Yes, but the conditions. I mean, Hajj the way Allah wants you to do Hajj, not the way Shaitan wants you or your nafs wants to do. Do the Hajj by ruling. Follow the laws, follow the rulings. You want to do Hajj ala kayfak, ala mizajak, yani that doesn't help. Okay? So no. If you know before entering the state of Ihram that you will not be able to perform Umrah al-Tamattu, you realize the time is going to be narrowed, then don't enter the state of Ihram. Khalas. Come next year. If the Hajj was fixed upon you. Remember, istiqrar, there are people, they were able to perform Hajj, they did not go. So now the Hajj is haunting them their entire life. Okay, they have to go for Hajj. Even if they don't have money, borrow money, get money, do whatever, it's obligatory upon you. Normally, Hajj is obligatory upon those who are capable. And capability we mentioned previously. So now this person was capable. He did not go for Hajj. He missed out. Now, without any excuse, no excuse, he did not have any excuse at all. So next year, we say you have to go, but I don't have my money. You borrow money, do whatever it takes. You have to go because it's hanging on you. It has been fixed on you. Istaqarra. That's the word we use. Istaqarra alayhi. So man kana fardu hajj التمتع إذا علم قبل أن يحرم للعمرة ضيق الوقت عن إتمامها قبل زوال الشمس من يوم عرفة لم يجزه العدول إلى حج الإفراد والقران. علم, he realized, he knew, he got the knowledge that the time will be short before entering the state of Ihram. Previous ruling, after entering the state of Ihram, after during the Amal of Umrah. Here, no, before entering the state of Ihram, he knows that he will not be able to reach Arafat at the noon of the mid of the day, Zawal al-Shams, on the noon time. لم يجزه العدول إلى حج الإفراد والقران. It will not be permissible for him to switch or to change or to convert to Hajj al-Ifrad or Hajj al-Qiran because you knew before entering the state of Ihram. بل يجب عليه إتيان حج التمتع. But I'm already in Jeddah. Yeah, but you know, you are not going to be able to. You arrived in Jeddah 9th in the morning, thinking that you will be able to. But now you realize before entering the state of Ihram, you will not be able to. There's a heavy traffic, car crash, this, that. You will not arrive in Jeddah, in Makkah or in Arafat on time. Forget Makkah and Arafat. Like Makkah, do for your Umrah Tamattu, and then Arafat for your Amal of Hajj. You will not be able to. When did he realize? Before the Amal of Umrah Tamattu. Before entering the state of Ihram. قبل أن يحرم للعمرة ضيق الوقت عن إتمامها قبل زوال الشمس. He realized before entering the state of Ihram that he will not be able to perform all the A'mal of Umrah, complete the A'mal of Umrah before the midday from the day of Arafah, min Yawm Arafah. It will not be لم يجزه العدول إلى حج الإفراد والقران. It will not be permissible for him, it will not be sufficient for him to switch to Hajj al-Ifrad, individual, or Qiran, association. بل يجب عليه الإتيان بحج التمتع. Moreover, it is obligatory upon him to perform the Hajj al-Tamattu next year. Next year? But this year, I mean, I barely got istita'a. Okay, but if you got istita'a and you came and this happened, that's fine. Then Hajj is not wajib upon you. But if Hajj was wajib upon you previously, and this Hajj you were doing it because you missed a Hajj, then you have to come back in this coming year, even by borrowing the money. Last ruling, ruling number 157. إذا أحرم لعمرة التمتع في سعة الوقت. Now this scenario is, he did ihram on time and there was enough time. But intentionally, he delayed the tawaf and sa'i deliberately. He did not do tawaf. He just said labbaik Allahumma labbaik in miqat, came to Makkah. Okay, he's in Makkah, but intentionally he did not do the tawaf. He said, let me wait until the 9th of the Hajj, okay, in my ihram, and 9th of the Hajj, I will do it's a blessed day, blessed time. The time of noon of the day of Arafat is a very blessed moment. I will do my a'mal, tawaf and sa'i on taqsir on the day of Arafat, the blessed day, Dhuhr time. So he says, kiss your Hajj, kiss your Umrah goodbye. Okay, that means kiss your Hajj goodbye too. So he said, batalat umratuhu. His Umrah will become invalid. ولا يجزه العدول إلى الإفراد على الأظهر. It will not be sufficient for him to shift or transfer or to change to Hajj al-Ifrad, most apparently. That means there are opinions. They say, yeah, though he was sinner, but he can change. Okay? He intentionally, deliberately delayed his tawaf, delayed his sa'i. He was in the state of ihram. He came to Makkah in the state of ihram, and he stayed in Makkah in the state of ihram. You see? Maybe he's one of those who likes to float in towel and move around in towels and like that. People, they're feeling so hot that they just don't want to get their ihram off. So he was thinking, oh, if I'm going to do the taqsir, I have to remove this towel. I'm enjoying the looseness of the clothes and the hot weather and relief, you see. So, and if I do taqsir, if I do the sa'i and tawaf and taqsir, I'll have to wear the dishdash. Let me be free. You see, Tarzan, see. So he wants to be Tarzan. So intentionally. So he said, okay, khalas, you can't because you delayed your tawaf and sa'i in a time that became short from arriving to Arafat and on the time of Dhuhr. So it will not be sufficient for you to change to Hajj al-Ifrad. Enjoy your Kool-Aid or cool air or whatever air, cool dress, something like that. وَلَا يُجْزِهِ الْعُدُولِ إِلَى الْإِفْرَادِ عَلَى الْأَظْهَرِ. It will not be sufficient for him to switch to Hajj al-Ifrad on most apparently. So now what will you do? This is our final. Sayyid Sistani proposes a precautionary measure. Focus with me. This is technical. These are the riddle things come on. Okay, the riddly areas, the riddle area. For those who like riddles. He says, if he does precautionary measure, it's recommended precaution. What is that? So he missed out. Okay, he delayed he's in Umrah, he's in Makkah, he's in Ihram, delayed his Tawaf and Sa'i until the 9th del Hajj. So what would he do now? He says, Hajj, forget about Hajj. Okay, there's only probability of his Hajj being okay. How? He says, don't go back to your hometown. Oh, my Hajj is invalid, my Umrah is invalid, blah, blah, blah. Then what because it was intentional. If it was unintentional, like Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, he can change his Hajj Umrah to Tamattu to Umrah Mufrada and leave. Or switches can happen for the circumstances. But this guy deliberately delayed his Tawaf and Sa'i and Taqsir until the day of Arafat, 9th. So Umrah is invalid. And switching is not going to be sufficient for him. So he says, here's the precautionary measure. Do your Umrah as an Umrah Mufrada. Okay? Do Umrah Mufrada. Like make an intention general between Umrah Mufrada and Hajj al-Ifrad. How? Go Arafat. Go Arafat with the intention of Umrah Mufrada. This is like a recommended precaution, a precautionary measure. Maybe his Hajj becomes okay. Maybe. So what is this precautionary measure? This precautionary measure is change the intention to Umrah Mufrada. Umrah Mufrada and Hajj Ifrad. An inclusive, a broader, a general, inclusive intention, including A'mal of Umrah Mufrada and A'mal of Hajj al-Ifrad. Why? Because in Hajj, you have Tawaf, Salat, Sa'i between Safa and Marwa, and Tawaf al-Nisa, and Salat Tawaf al-Nisa. Remember the sandwich I said? Tawaf al-Hajj, 2 rakat Tawaf of Hajj, Sa'i between Safa and Marwa, and Tawaf al-Nisa, and Salat of Tawaf al-Nisa, a sandwich. Tawaf, Sa'i, Tawaf. This is where A'mal of Hajj. So when you make an inclusive intention for Umrah Mufrada and A'mal al-Hajj, Hajj al-Ifrad, that means if your action was correct, okay, then it will be considered your Hajj al-Ifrad. Hajj will be done. And if it was not correct, at least Umrah Mufrada you did. Okay, so something will be okay. If not Hajj, at least Umrah. Okay, what about the Arafat and Muzdalifah? Can I really do extra thing in Umrah Mufrada? Like go to Arafat and Muzdalifah and Mina and pelt the stones and stay the nights in Mina and sacrifice the goat. Can I really do that in the doubtful situation? That's what the meaning is. That do the A'mal of Umrah and A'mal of Hajj. So if your Umrah was accepted and Hajj was not accepted, so you came out of something, then what will happen to the staying in Arafat and sacrificing? That's dummy. You'll get thawab, inshallah. But it will not invalidate your Umrah Mufrada. You see, the intention is inclusive to Umrah Mufrad and Hajj al-Ifrad. So let's say Allah says, cancels. No, this is not Hajj. This is messed up situation. You are supposed to do Hajj al-Tamattu. So what will happen here? He will do Umrah merged with Hajj in the intention of Hajj al-Ifrad and Umrah Mufrada. So if his Umrah Mufrada is correct, khalas, then Arafat is cancelled from the book of deeds. Muzdalifah is cancelled. Everything extra he did cancel. He will at least come out with Umrah. But if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge, he accepts the Hajj, okay, the stay in Arafat and all those things. So he did his sandwich, Amal al-Umrah, which is Umrah al-Mufrada. And the Amal of Umrah al-Mufrada are exactly Amal of Hajj, Amal of Makkah in Hajj. Remember Amal of Makkah when we were indexing the sandwich? The sandwich is Umrah Mufrada. The sandwich is after you come back from Mina, you do Tawaf, Salat Tawaf, Sa'i, Tawaf al-Nisa, Salat Tawaf al-Nisa. The same thing is there where in Umrah Mufrada, Hajj al-Ifrad, Hajj and Umrah Mufrada, they both have these 3 acts. Tawaf, Sa'i, Tawaf. So what was extra? The camping, the pelting, the sacrifice. So all these extras, if really in the knowledge of Allah, your Hajj was supposed to be Hajj al-Ifrad, alhamdulillah, you did Hajj al-Ifrad. If in the knowledge of Allah, your Hajj al-Ifrad was not valid, then at least you came out of Umrah Mufrada. So this is what he says. وإن كان الأحوط الأولى الإتيان بأعماله رجاءً. Okay, even though it is a recommended precaution to perform its acts, don't leave without performing its acts. What was the beginning? If إذا أحرم لعمرة التمتع في سعة الوقت وأخر الطواف والسعي متعمدا إلى زوال الشمس من يوم عرفة بطلت عمرته ولا يجزي العدول إلى الإفراد على الأفضل. He cannot switch to Hajj al-Ifrad, most apparently. Even though, this is where recommended precaution is, that perform the A'mal of Hajj al-Ifrad raja'an, hope of its requirement. Perhaps Allah might have His mercy upon you and this will be your Hajj. Hope, raja, hope, arjuk, I hope, please, I hope you do that. Arjuk, arju انك تفعل هذا. I hope that you do this. So raja'an, hope of its requirement. So if the Hajj was required, you did it. If Hajj was not required, at least Umrah is required. If not obligatory, recommended. So you did it. In both cases, you are a win-win situation. So he says, وإن كان الأحوط الأولى, even though it's recommended precaution, الإتيان بأعماله رجاءً, to perform the أعمال of Hajj al-Ifrad in the hope of its requirement. بل الأحوط استحبابًا, moreover, that it is recommended precaution to perform the tawaf and the salat of tawaf and the sa'i and the shaving of the head and the taqsir فيها بقصد أعم. Do all these rituals with the general intention, which is inclusive to Hajj al-Ifrad wal Umrah al-Mufrada. Inclusive to these two things. What are these things? The things which are part of Umrah Mufrada. Tawaf of Umrah Mufrada, and there is Hajj al-Ifrad, and Hajj also there is a Tawaf. Salat al-Tawaf, Umrah Mufrada, Salat al-Tawaf and Hajj as well. Sa'i between Safa and Marwa in Umrah Mufrada, it is there in Hajj, be it Hajj al-Ifrad, Hajj al-Tamattu, any Hajj, it's parts of rituals of Makkah, are part of Hajj. Then Tawaf al-Nisa and Salat al-Tawaf al-Nisa, it is in Umrah Mufrada, it is in the Hajj al-Ifrad. So what is the difference? The exiting the state of Ihram. In Hajj, you exit the state of Ihram where? In Mina. In Umrah, you exit the state of Ihram where? In after completing your sa'i between Safa and Marwa. So after you've done Marwa or after Marwa, wherever, after the Marwa. So here he says that one should do these a'mal, which are available in Umrah and in Hajj, with the general intention, inclusive intention of being Umrah, Umratul Ifrad, and Hajj al-Ifrad. Umrah Mufrada and Hajj al-Ifrad. Okay, these two intentions. So that's it. That's why he says Balil Ahwat Istihbaban, moreover, as a recommended precaution, and Ya'ti Tawaf, he should perform Tawaf, Salat of Tawaf, Sa'i and Halq. But he did Halq in Mina, that's fine. If you shaved your head, clip off your mustache, beard, nail, okay? Or don't shave, just clip off your hair and then clip off your hair in Umrah. So do this twice, one as a part of Hajj, one as a part of Umrah al-Mufrada, so that you exit the state of Ihram. Otherwise, you'll come back to your hometown in the state of Ihram and you'll go to your work with this sari or whatever, the cloth wrap, and like Dalai Lama or something like that. And then for those people, they like to be aerated on continuous basis. They will enjoy it, but not most of the people to be in the state of Ihram. So just make sure that you get out of your Ihram in Hajj or in Umrah. So as-sa'i wal-halq wal-taqsir. So tawaf and salah. And sa'i and shaving or performing taqsir, a clipping of the hair. With what intention say that? بقصد الأعم, with the general inclusive intention of what? Hajj al-Ifrad and al-Umrah al-Mufrada. Hajj of Ifrad and the Umrah of Mufrada. That was all for today. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.